my online community, though, and I have a Discord.
Okay.
And I have this channel called Form Check. And so people who are part of the community can just like take a video of themselves doing like, let's say a snatch, and they upload it.
Okay.
And myself and then other people in the community, we can give commentary. In the very beginning, I was just so hands-on, and I may have started a culture where like everyone looks to me instead of the community, which I may want to like go look back at and just be like, maybe I want to like decentralize it. But at the end of the day, like no one has an incentive of like, you know, sitting down and reviewing like a 1 to 2 minute video and then like writing this huge write-up, because I include like detailed write-ups in all the Form Check, and a lot of these people aren't even like paid members, but they just want to be part of the community. So I'm like,
that's awesome.
It is like a big responsibility, but I enjoy it. I would say. I do like, I think it like makes everything worth it at the end of the day. The words from actual consumers of what you're putting out there, where they're like, thank you so much for doing this. This means so much for X, Y, or Z reasons. And that's what motivates me.
I love that.
Yeah, I started the Discord community as sort of like just like an attack. I didn't know if it would like take off at all. And, but it has added a lot of value that I didn't expect.
Welcome, everyone. What is today? What's going on? It's Friday, January 24th. It's 1:15 in the afternoon, and it's absolutely beautiful outside. I'm waiting for some snow, though, huh?
I don't think it's going to happen in Phoenix or Gilbert.
But I'm talking about up north. I'm just waiting for rain here so we can get some snow up north is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you really want snow, you shouldn't really have moved here, though, right?
No. But I never even thought there was snow in the first place. And the last couple of years, it was snowing up north, and I was like, is this a thing?
It is really weird because Arizona, as a state, you just think like, oh, that's just like Phoenix, and but really, it's not. Like this state is beautiful. It has all different types of weather. You travel like 1 or 2 hours up north, and you can see snow.
If you didn't know, now you know. I want to say in parts of Sedona it snows, Flagstaff, and then Pine. There's Sholo, Pine Top, and then Strawberry, which is going to be past Payson. And so we have the intention to purchase a home up north. And my father-in-law just closed, I want to say 2 days ago. Congratulations, Dad. We call him Papa Bear, but, Dad John. So, but yeah, they're getting a place up in Payson. So like right before you get into Payson, they found a really cool place. My father-in-law's getting married in March. I'm the best man, so I got to take on all those roles and responsibilities.
Congratulations.
Thanks, bro.
Are you going to rent it out?
Yes. So what we didn't tell you is this house is house hacked. So we have a roommate in one of the rooms upstairs. Then we have that travel trailer on the side of the house that you may or may not seen. And then we have another room upstairs that we rent out because 3,300 square foot, 6-bedroom house. And it's just my wife, my daughter, and I. We don't need this much space.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, if we travel a lot, we have 2 cats. Like, let's just go ahead and have someone help just feed them, manage them, take care of the house, whatever.
So it's like in the contract. Just like it's the social.
It should be.
Yeah.
But it's not. And, she's great. She lives with us for a while. She goes up and down dealing with some health stuff. And so we wish her well. Julia, God bless you. But yeah, it's worked out nice.
My wife would not go for that, I don't think.
A lot of people won't go for that. No one wants strangers.
I mean, I would do it as a single guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they'd kind of be like roommates, even though it is house hacking. Like
it is like a roommate.
But is that weird, though, having your daughter and like like a stranger in your house?
So it does come up where sometimes, or a lot of times, we'll have her like sleep with us for the first night, and then we kind of get the hang of the people and who they are. But a lot of families. So then when families come, it's cool because they already have kids, and then they play. We've only had a couple times where it was like, because all the reviews are like family pretty much. And then it's people that come out here for like softball tournaments.
Oh, it's like short-term rentals.
Yeah, it's Airbnb.
Oh, I thought you meant like it was like a long-term.
We only have one long-term. We have one long-term. That's Julia. Okay. She's 2 daughters in college, just graduated. They're in the healthcare industry. They're nurses, I believe. And so, yeah, that's no big deal. But when it comes to like, it's short-term, it's Airbnb. We house hack because my wife went full-time at T. And, T's good, but you're not going to get super rich off it. I guess you could, but she's not trying to go like corporate with it, right? She wants to go more boutique-ish, right? Speaking of
You
tea,
can totally scale it online. We can
oh my
talk about
God.
that.
Yeah. Well, we built her website, Liftoff Agent built the website for her. She's doing it online and she's doing a great job. And it's just, she's marketing, she's blending, she's everything.
She does everything.
Yeah. So she's doing a great job. Shout out Red Zen Tea. We're having some matcha right now.
Very
But
tasty.
yeah,
I
right.
rarely have matcha, and I approve. I
Oh,
don't know if that says anything. If I don't,
she's gonna love
really have
that.
matcha.
I know, right? It's like, oh, I had a bunch of matcha yesterday. Oh shit, but this is delicious. But man, Eric, I'm excited to give you all some context. So Eric and I went to a networking meeting. Lewis was on our podcast. Lewis was on the other show, Real Estate First Tech, because he's more like an emo marketing guy.
Yeah.
In Phoenix, he has a networking group, and him and his partner. So basically, we hit it off, and we're just chatting and talking. And you're wearing a jacket, so I didn't like know what I didn't know until like we connected on social, and then I was like looking on Instagram, like, damn, this guy's freaking jacked, dude. I actually had to wear an extra tight shirt just because I wanted to look a little bigger on the show with you.
That's funny. Yeah, being in this industry, in the fitness industry, constantly comparing yourself to other people.
It's so true, dude. It's
Because
so
my
true.
algorithm knows, like, just push fitness content out to this guy. So
You're always getting it.
I've developed body dysmorphia, is what I'm trying to say. So I appreciate the compliment.
Well, no, honestly, it's so true and it's so easy. I don't know anyone out there that can relate to this, to like compare yourself to someone else and what they have, what you don't, whatever. But at the end of the day, like I would say, full transparency, just checking out your content and just seeing what you're up to and what you're doing and just the physique in general. Like, you look great, bro.
Thank you.
You
Appreciate
look, here's a little. Let's add a little. You look great, bro.
That's cute. Yeah, I mean, it is weird though being in this like kettlebell niche
Yeah.
because it's not a bodybuilding aesthetic type of niche, but
I can
of
see
course,
that.
as you lift more weights, your body still develops,
Yeah.
and you gain muscle, but the intention is not bodybuilding.
Mm,
So it is kind of a weird space in the fitness realm.
yeah.
The biggest ones are strength
Okay.
and aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
And then kettlebells, which lies more into like the functional fitness space. I do like more general strength and stamina. That's
Yeah.
how I perceive it.
Okay.
Functional fitness is kind of like it's a term that a lot of people don't necessarily go for, and we could talk about that too if you want. But
Okay.
but yeah, no, we met at that networking event. It's really cool because we're all part of like different industries, but we all are business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that's where everyone aligns, and it's cool talking to people in other industries and seeing your perspectives on things. So
Yeah, no, I'm 100%,
well-rounded.
100% agree with you because, there's the nuances of working on the business, working in the business. There's the, marketing, there's the sales, there's the doing of the thing. And so it's a lot. And that's where I like this show when we just launched this show and was viewing and listening just a few months back. And because we can go a little bit more just deep and just talk about lift off moments, whether it's personally, professionally, spiritually, which we talked about your lift off moment during COVID and what happened with that whole thing. And before we get into, that story and some others, were you always like fast metabolism looked good? Just like from the perspective of like lean?
I was never overweight.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think I come from a family where just genetically we have a faster
Good genes.
metabolism.
Okay.
Um,
Not mine.
and well, also diet. I mean, my mom and dad were like vegan for all
Really?
of my like teenagers. Yeah, but I still eat meat. I don't vibe with the vegan lifestyle. No.
To each his own.
But I got into fitness more when I got to be an adult.
Okay.
I joined the Marine Corps after high school. And that's when I started taking fitness more seriously.
Yeah.
I never played sports really in high school. I did like, I was younger in elementary school. I was in soccer. But yeah, fitness became part of my life as an adult.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
And I'm not that tall either, so I wasn't like on the
Makes two of
football
us.
field or anything. So
How tall are you?
5'9"
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
on a good day.
Yeah. With some shoes on. No,
Yeah.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you. But no, it's 2020. It's COVID, right? Lockdown happens. We all know what happened with that whole situation. Gyms are closing. How do you do your routine when you're stuck inside your house and got to have the mask and all the things? And so we'll get them up to speed. But I'm going to leave them with. You're out front of your house. You're swinging kettlebells. Your neighbors are looking at you, and you're that guy.
Yeah.
So how did you become that guy to then evolve to where you're at. And kudos to this guy. Go check him out on the gram. I mean, great brand, great following, and he's done a great job crushing it with what he's done. So I admire that because I don't even have that. So congratulations to you on that side. So I think that's a liftoff moment when you can cultivate a community and you could, build what you've built. But how did you even kick off this kettlebell?
So yeah, I started off with kettlebells, as you said, during COVID, and
Yeah.
it's crazy thinking about it now because, I mean, when people reference COVID nowadays, tell me if you agree or disagree, but it seems like such a far off time.
It does now.
But it was such an impactful moment in so many people's lives.
Oh my God.
Not just in terms of the actual of like, people getting sick and potentially dying from COVID and that affecting your family, but people's lives were just upended completely and people had to adapt.
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in this house. We wouldn't be having this show, honestly, if it wasn't for COVID.
It was like a reset basically for like most of the world.
Yeah, agreed.
For me though, I mean, I was working, it started, I think it was at Deloitte.
Okay.
And I was in the commercial real estate world. That's what I went to school for.
Yeah.
College. I was in DC. I went to George Washington University. And I always thought I was going to be in business, not as an entrepreneur, because I'm not naturally entrepreneurial, which we can talk about too. But I was in that corporate world. And so because of COVID, I was locked in my house on Excel all day.
Sounds like fun, bro.
Yeah. I actually don't mind Excel, to be honest. Yeah, that's
your
like
jam?
because I like to be able to just like turn on music or a podcast and just like work for 3 to 4 hours straight.
You know what? I'm right there with you. I could do that.
Yeah,
I could do that.
I mean, it's not fulfilling, long term, but I could definitely get down with that sort of like day to day, which I've kind of incorporated now.
Okay.
At coffee shops, but
that's good.
So yeah, I was working from home, like a lot of people, just stuck in Excel. But I, liked working out, and so I wanted to keep doing that. But the gyms all closed, and so I had to figure out a way to adapt.
Yeah.
And so I had never touched kettlebells before, but I was looking online. I was like, what can I buy to just like work out either in my apartment or outside?
Yeah. Something simple.
Yeah. And so I was going to get kettlebells initially, but they were all sold out because everyone was building a home gym. I know you built a home gym.
Yeah.
I know you only have like 3 mini kettlebells, but like,
hey, let's not talk shit on my a total of 30 pounds, maybe. I have 5, 10, and a 15, not even 30.
I want to swing those. They look interesting. They're like plastic.
They are kind of plastic. We'll swing them after this.
Okay.
We'll get you some behind the scenes footage.
Yeah. And so I started out, I did find on Amazon, it was like a 15 or 20 pound slam ball.
Ah.
Have you ever used a slam ball before?
Yeah, the heavy weighted balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like rubber with like sand or whatever they put inside of it. And so I took this ball, I think it was 20 pounds, and I went outside to the front of my apartment complex on the lawn, and I would just like throw this thing as far as I could, as high as I could, just like as hard as I could down on the ground, and I just did that as my routine, and that got old very quickly. But I was like, I could at least go outside and work out. Like, this is cool because like I said, I was stuck inside. I needed an excuse to get outside,
of course,
and work out.
Yeah.
And then eventually I did find a kettlebell. There was a Target down the street that got a restock, and so I bought like a 35-pound one. I got one on Amazon too, and then I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I didn't know what I was doing with it. So then that's what led to me doing some research on YouTube and on Instagram.
Okay.
And so I started getting obsessive about learning as much as I could because I was intimidated by kettlebells before. Because I thought that if you swung it the wrong way, you would break your back.
Really? I could see that maybe, yeah.
So I was really risk averse. And that led me to do as much research as I could just to avoid injury, essentially. And so I found this community that existed, but it was small. But it was growing. It was growing very quickly because everyone else around the world was also trying to learn kettlebells. And so there was like this boom. And if you look at Google Trends,
it was a trend.
If you look at Google Trends.
Yeah.
If you look up kettlebell, you'll see there's like this spike during COVID,
during 2020.
Now, I mean, it's gone down, but there's like a seasonal ebb
and flow of like
exactly
a new revolution. Kettlebells.
So that was my first introduction to like the online kettlebell community.
Yeah.
And I followed a few folks that just resonated with me a lot. And it was, weirdly enough, the juggling community. Have you ever seen anyone juggle a kettlebell before?
No.
It's a whole thing.
Dude, I'm gonna be getting down in a rabbit hole after our
Yeah.
show, dude. I'm gonna be like,
You can do it with those bells over there, but there's
can you do it?
yeah, well, that's how I started. It was juggling.
Juggling?
Well, when I say juggling, I should clarify because you're probably
Okay.
thinking I'm taking 3 kettlebells at once and like
Yeah.
So it's
What is that, 2?
it's kind of a misnomer. It's 1 kettlebell. You can do 2. You can do 2 and one in each hand.
Okay.
But you basically just like flip it and like move it and rotate it
Okay.
in unique and creative and fast ways.
That's cool though. Heck yeah.
So if anyone's interested in that, look at kettlebell juggling. And it actually
up.
became so big that I'll call him my peer, or a friend. I've never met him in real life, but he started this American Kettlebell Juggling Association, I think is what it's called.
That's so cool. I mean, you can do anything, right? I mean, why not?
Yeah, and
That's
so now
awesome.
they have annual, I think it's annual, maybe biannual competitions. Go to different states and like people come and they have like a panel of judges, and then you can now like compete
Wow.
in America. And this was a thing in Europe before, but I don't think it was ever in America. But it's kind of interesting because there's like all these different styles that people have with juggling, depending on where they are geographically. Like,
Yeah.
if you're like Russians, they're like very they have specific movements that they do that they're like pretty rote. But then American juggling is like way more fluid and dynamic. And
Interesting.
there's a couple of guys that started it out. And anyway,
You
going down the rabbit hole.
gonna get down on that? Would you enter ever or try to?
No. I stopped doing that because I didn't have enough time to do that. Plus
Work out?
Okay, because like you're using light bells, you're not really
Getting a workout?
engaging your muscles as much as you want to really put on like mass and
Yeah.
So
Okay.
anyway, long story short, I got obsessed with kettlebells, and I was that crazy guy in the front lawn that all my neighbors knew as the kettlebell guy. And
Who's that guy?
and after a year of doing this, I started posting online too as like a way to give back to the community. I was like, I want to be a part of this because I felt like this guy that like for a year straight I was just consuming all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sort of like be a part of it. So
why not?
I got an Instagram account, started like posting videos, and I realized it was like a creative outlet. I was like, I was having fun with it. You know, like I had my job where I was like, I have to do this stuff every day.
Yeah.
But then this became my hobby, my application.
That's dope.
So, yeah. And I think that's sort of like what resonated with people too, from the business perspective, is like people can tell socially when you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I would have so much fun just like recording videos of myself, posting it, like trying to make it more interesting for people because Instagram specifically is weird where it's short form content. So
they went to 3 minutes. You heard that, right?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That'll be big for certain types of creators, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
And certain types of content. The Instagram fitness Instagram is also interesting if you want to talk about that. But
I'm always down.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's like the short version of how I got involved with all this stuff.
Dude, that's awesome. I think that it's something to be said about what you're doing is nice. It is not just nice, but it's cool because you're doing something different from the perspective of like anyone can pick up a kettlebell.
Yeah.
So building a community, whether it's someone that's a diehard or maybe just curious or maybe like now doing it, like who's your target demographic? It could be anybody who wants to, which it's not, but I'm just saying it's a wider audience than like in contrast to real estate agents, like, Liftoff agent, right? There's not a whole lot of, it's like,
I think that depending on the content that you put out, it could appeal to a wider range of people because, people need a place to live. But with kettlebells, I would say that my target audience is, there's like a bunch of different pockets.
Yeah.
But for sure, it's anyone who's interested in fitness.
Okay.
They may not vibe with like the typical gym culture for one reason or another.
Okay.
And a lot of that is, some people may have a fear of entering a gym and they don't want to like touch the weights because they might be embarrassed. They don't have any, I was lucky enough to be, we weren't a fitness family, but I was, I still had access to a gym and I wasn't afraid of like lifting weights. I had friends who lifted weights. And so it was always
intimidating for sure.
Yeah. It's like if you grew up in a culture that just didn't, like a microculture, like your house that you weren't exposed to it.
Yeah.
It could be something new and intimidating. So kettlebells are great because you can just buy one and do it in your house. You're not, no one's watching you. So that's one. Another group is like, people who are just short on time, because kettlebells are really great at just hitting your full body
Mm,
without much time.
okay.
Especially if you're doing it at home, you don't have to like spend 15 minutes in your car back and forth traveling to the gym and like
Yeah, yeah.
changing. Um, and then others just like they want a more creative way of working out too. They don't. I will say, after I started off with kettlebells, it is really boring to just lift weights. Like doing a typical gym split,
Mm,
like a bodybuilding split with just dumbbells and barbells, that can get pretty boring.
I could see
For a
that.
lot of people. So it's a bunch of different types of people who are interested in it. But really, I just want, in terms of like the content I put out there, it's really just me either talking about my workouts that
Yeah.
I personally do, or just putting out those workouts specifically. So.
Got it. Got it. So then, curious question. So you've been doing the kettlebell thing, and that's like your now, main workout. Do you ever go to a gym and try to do a traditional lift just to maybe see where you're at strength wise? Like, where's your bench? Like, where's your squat? Like, just out of curiosity, or to just, muscle, like changing it up, right? So tricking your muscles and what have you. You ever kind of incorporate that at all, or you just stay away from the gyms?
I got a gym membership recently, actually.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because I did miss going to another place, and like actually, it is different.
Okay.
Going to a separate space for just to work out.
Yeah, it is different.
Like the mental the headspace that you're in, where you like actually leave your house and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to ask you, so like how often do you work out in this gym? How often do you use it?
So honestly, this is like my wife, when she did BNI on Wednesdays, would use it every Wednesday. And then I use it every morning for like, I just do like hanging for a minute to 2 minutes just to stretch out my body. And then I use that red light panel machines in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I do my Wim Hof breathing every single morning. So I use it for that aspect.
It's like meditative.
It's more meditative. And then like I'll do like maybe a quick lift, or if I'm like pressed for time, then, or I'm going to be traveling, I'll go in there, I'll get a quick lift and get it done. But you're 100% right. Like, to get out of this space and go somewhere else it's nice. It is a selling feature for the Airbnb though, because people do reach out to us. They're like, oh, like, can
I use the gym?
Can I use the gym? Or, what do you have for weights in the gym? We've had a couple different questions. So I had to like take some new pictures, because we just put in the rack in there. But it's nice to just get a change of scenery, get somewhere else, because we've made this house where you don't really have to leave it. So it's like,
we have everything here.
We have everything here. So this is my space where I'm like doing that 3-hour vibe, like you're talking about, just in like whatever I'm doing, a document for a downloadable or whatever. But yeah, I definitely like to do that and change the space up and go somewhere else. So do you ever get, because you do a lot of this stuff online, but do you ever bring people together in the community to do like a workout session?
Yeah. And I know that you asked another question, so I don't want to avoid that. I'll answer that right now, then I'll get back to this question.
Okay.
In terms of like testing my strength, there is some transfer. So I have actually gotten stronger on my barbell squat. I actually don't I don't bench press the barbell. I just don't like I don't know.
I don't like that either.
Stiff. If I'm gonna bench press, I'm just gonna use dumbbells. So, which I do, and I have gotten stronger. I think I did like 105s or something the other day.
Nice.
I don't do it often, but I do want to get more into bench pressing, because unfortunately with the kettlebells, it is really hard to hit your chest. So if you are getting into like, if you want to work out for the aesthetics, again, kettlebells aren't necessarily for you. If you want to build specific muscles, you're better off with dumbbells and machines.
Got it.
Anyway, but what was your more recent question? Oh, about the community. Yeah,
community.
I train individuals locally. I didn't get any community involvement here. But I kind of rely on other people in the area, and I come join them. Like, for instance, I'm coaching at this event in April. The Juggling Association is actually kind of
really nice.
So I'm doing like a more hard style is what it's called. Which is how I work out. So I'm leading a class with that, and then sometimes I'll do a park workout with these. I'll shout them out. The Phoenix Flow. They have a whole community every
Phoenix Flow,
Saturday, and so sometimes I'll go out and help out with that. But Yeah, for the past like 3 or 4 months, I've been focused on my app, and so I really just put everything else aside just to do that.
It's a good
um,
reason. Yeah.
but I will say it is incredibly important to do in-person stuff,
Yeah.
especially as a trainer, to gain
Hmm.
that skill set because it provides better understanding and perspective when you actually train people in person versus online.
Yeah, I can see that.
Um, yeah, yeah, I'll just say that.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine like I watched a couple of your videos and you're talking about when you swing the kettlebells, wrist slap, or pain in the wrists, and you're talking about some techniques and some things to work through that. So I can imagine, for anyone viewing or listening, and going through the process, or even your customers, your clients, like, is form a thing?
Yeah,
Something definitely.
I mean, there's different advice that you give to like a mass audience versus individuals because
Yeah.
with individuals, especially if you're there in person, you can give them specific guidance about what exactly
Mhm.
you're doing right and wrong because everyone's different. Everyone's body's different and everyone also thinks differently.
Yeah.
So everyone's problems are unique to them.
Okay.
So that's why it's good to hire a coach so that they can actually like, it's quicker to learn if you have some, I personally didn't learn from a coach. I learned all from online.
Wow.
So, I understand both angles of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give generally, I mean, there's just general rules of thumb that you can give the mass audience, but if you're trying to fix a specific issue, then yeah, you're gonna need some guidance. But
Interesting.
my online community though, I have a Discord.
Okay.
And I have this channel called Form Check. And so people who are part of the
Nice.
community can just like take a video of themselves doing like, let's say a snatch and
Yeah.
then, they upload it.
Okay.
And myself and then other people in the community, we can give commentary
That's cool.
about like, hey, you're doing this and this correctly. What you need to work on is this, and this, and they can follow up. Like, here's another
Wow.
video, and like over time, it's just like quick improvements. The
Dude.
good thing about that is that I mean, it's one. I mean, it's not as fast as in person, obviously, if you're right next to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, there's global reach. You don't have
Wow.
to if you're like in Alaska somewhere and like there's no one, who are you gonna hire? Like, what is your neighbor gonna be a kettlebell coach? So like it removes any geographical barriers that there may be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then two, it provides like community too. So you're not just having one person look at it, you're having maybe you're having hundreds of potentially people looking at it. And
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So is this community specifically your community, or is this a community that was already available on Discord?
It's my community. I started it. It's called Bellmade. That's actually
Bellmade.
my app name. You can access it through the app
Okay.
or through the website. I should say it's
Yeah.
free. You don't even have to be a member. You can just join the Discord.
Wow.
And I chose Discord. You want to talk about Discord?
We're on it too.
You're on Discord.
Yeah, with Liftoff. Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like, I mean, and I'm really happy that I went that route with Discord. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
It's popular. Like, a lot of people have it. It used to just be like super niche for gamers to have.
Yeah, not anymore.
And that was my fear that when I first started on Discord, I was like, I don't know if there's enough network. I didn't know if people are on Discord. And I didn't, because I don't want to assume that people are going to have to download an app to come come join the community,
Yeah.
But yeah, enough people have it. I think Slack is more popular just because a lot of people have it for work.
Yeah. We used to use that too.
But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, do you need to pay to use Slack?
They started to get into paid memberships. Yeah.
Like for the user?
I think the users are free. But they actually, you know what? I think it might all be paid now because it was free for a while and we left because it was a paid subscription. Like I think they forced everyone to do that.
I think it's more of like a corporate app now than.
I think it's a lot more business corporate. Yeah. Because if you're not in Discord, then you're going to be on like WeChat. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you can use like WhatsApp, but that doesn't.
Yeah. WhatsApp.
Yeah. WhatsApp doesn't have as many features. So Discord works. Reddit's good too, but the chat function in Discord is just like.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Easy, simple. Like, yeah, if you want to upload videos, you have to pay for it or certain things. Pictures are fine. But how does it feel to like have a freaking community like that where like people are uploading videos, needing help with form, and you're not even the one helping them probably half the time?
I do help most of the time, I will say.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And I think that's just simply because of my involvement, because I from the very beginning, I was just so hands-on. And I may have started a culture where like everyone looks to me instead of the community, which I may want to like go look back at and be like, maybe I want to like decentralize it. But at the end of the day, like no one has an incentive of like, sitting down and reviewing like a 1 to 2 minute video, and then like writing
you.
this huge write up, because I include like detailed write ups and all the form check, and a lot of these people aren't even like paid members, but they just want to be part of the community. So I'm like,
That's awesome.
it is like a big responsibility, but I enjoy it. I would say I do like. I think it like makes everything worth it at the end of the day. Yeah, because you really see feedback from people directly. You know people by their names and their faces.
I love that
because they upload their. I mean, many times they have their own face as their profile photo, but a lot of times they don't. But it is a huge responsibility, but I do enjoy it. It's also good for me to keep my my skills up.
Yeah.
My teaching skills up, especially since I'm not doing any in-person stuff anymore.
Oh, really? It's all online?
It's all online, so I have to like maintain, and so it's like a test of my abilities. But over time, I've learned like a lot of people have the same questions.
Okay.
Which led to me like figuring out how to like automate stuff.
Okay.
You know, scale them so that, and I figured out along the way like how to do that exactly so that people don't keep coming with the same exact questions, because after a while you're just like, if everyone has the same question, that means that there's a way that I can automate this and make it so that they don't have to ask. You know,
you're speaking music to my ears, bro. Like so many people out there in the real estate space, they don't get that shit. I'm like, dude, optimize videos, standard operating procedures, key performance indicators. Like, and it's funny because these individuals out there, these agents will just repeat themselves. And I'm just like, dude, like you don't need to do that. Like you need to have hours, set that shit up and be on those hours. And then like, just film these videos, have these downloadables, like just don't, you know. But the one thing I got to say that sparked an interest is, or just a thought was like, it's cool that you built this community, because a lot of people out there, you know, when you build a business, like I built Liftoff for contrast sakes of what you're talking about. And I meet these agents and we do business. I go to events, I speak, I see them from time to time on social, or I see them time to time at events. But I don't really have the community like what you've built, which is super cool, because I feel that like in life, you know, you can make money and have things. So like there's a lot of cool things around us, but it doesn't give you purpose like it does when you have a community and you can like serve and support and help and give them feedback. And it makes you feel like you got purpose in life.
Yeah. I mean, especially, you know, when you're posting on social media too, a lot of times you get stuck in like the metrics, like the likes and the share, and that's not fulfilling in my opinion. So, like,
not at all.
The words from actual consumers of what you're putting out there, where they're like, "Thank you so much for doing this. This means so much for X, Y, or Z reasons," and that's what motivates me. And
I love that.
Yeah, I started the Discord community as sort of like an attack. I didn't know if it would like take off at all, and but it has added a lot of value that I didn't expect. Wow. Yeah, personally. So
you mind sharing like how many members?
I could just look it up right now.
Let's look it up. I'm just curious because I think that like, I don't know, numbers hold some type of weight, but at the end of the day, I think that, you know, for anyone who's curious in the audience, and that's the cool thing with Discord. It's like, it doesn't matter, laptop, phone, you get to it super simple, and then boom, you're there with the.
Yeah. So on the Discord community, there's 934 right now.
Nice.
Not all those are participating. A lot of people, there's like what something else I've learned too about communities is that I wouldn't even call it an 80-20 rule, but it's like,
what is it, like 90-10?
95-5 maybe.
Wow. Like 5% are actually,
but they're like very active. And so it's really cool. Like I appreciate those people so much.
Of course.
They're the ones keeping it alive.
Yeah.
And, you know, without them, I'd just be like speaking into the void. And it's like, well, that's not fun. But then you do get a lot of people who like react, because you can react to that.
Yeah.
And then other people who I know, like just, they lurk. They don't necessarily.
You got those what are those?
Which is fine. Like they're still getting value out of
it.
You know, and then like occasionally, like once every few months, they'll reach out and be like, "Hey, blah blah blah," and then it's like, "Oh, they've actually been like lurking this whole time, but they haven't like been contributing."
You got like the watchers, and then like you have the doers. Like the people are doing something on there, the people are just watching, and it's just like it's the same thing with. Isn't that interesting with social? Like you'll be like posting shit or whatever else, and then like you'll meet someone you haven't seen in a long time, or you'll meet someone new, and they're like, "Oh," they like talk about all the stuff, like they know you and they've been following you, but like they never like comment or add to the conversation, but they like know all the things. You're like,
yeah, I mean,
okay.
I mean, that's kind of a lesson too. If you're putting stuff out there and you're getting views, you know, people are watching, they may not be engaging.
Yes.
But they're still consuming what you're putting out there.
Yes.
But yeah, sometimes you do wish like, hey, well, why don't you like interact?
Yeah, why don't you say something?
You can like reach out, message me. It doesn't even have to be like on the thing, which I get because before I started posting on social media, I was that guy where I just consumed, because I didn't feel like, why would I write to this straight? They don't know me necessarily. Yeah, you know? So like, why would I put any comments on there? But
it takes bandwidth too. You gotta like literally like, you know, I feel like if the post or the content actually like emotionally moves you, you feel like a little bit more like inspiration to like comment or say some shit.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, than just like whatever, you just scroll 3 seconds, whatever. But yeah, it is interesting. And just so for y'all know out there, like if you were to like this episode or give it a comment or share it with someone, then the algorithm says, okay, this is good shit. Like, let's share it with more people. Like, that's one thing I don't think people understand. It's like, it helps us. And just like if, you know, we comment or whatever too, it's like, well, the algorithm.
It's not a huge lift for people to click that.
No.
Click that subscribe button.
No. You know, it's funny because my wife and I right now, we're kicking around the idea. I was going to call it the celebration of the life or celebration of the month. I don't know why I keep saying life because that's its own thing. Yeah. Celebration of the month, just like celebrate the month, your wins, like go over what you learned and end of the last day of the month. Okay. And now we're looking at calling it like Momentum Monthly. And I'm like, oh, honey, I really like, we had a conversation. Do you really want to like do another thing? And then like, you don't want to turn it into a business, but you want people to kind of like invest, like, okay, their time, but like we're thinking like $10, whatever. And then like have ambassadors and then share like the, you know, the $10 with the ambassadors, whoever they bring up, whatever. And I'm just like, man, speaking of like what you talked about earlier, like just Discord into the abyss. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes you put stuff and effort out there, and if you don't really set like the intentions and go deeper with the whole thing, which takes a lot of time, which I don't know if I want to put in, it can just go nowhere because people don't really get motivated to be a part of your community or share or engage, you know?
Yeah, they have to get something out of it.
Right? It's like, what am I getting?
I mean, if you think of these, like the networking event that we met at, I don't know the history behind like how many people that had when it first started, but it's definitely grown into something successful. So
that's true.
And I think if it's authentic to you and if you care about it, it'll come naturally because again, people can tell. You know, and so I don't think you should start a community if it's not authentic to you.
I love that.
You know,
that's very true. Yeah, and that's where I feel like we talked about that today too. Like, it needs to be more organic. I think that more organic is going to be the best. That way, it doesn't need to be super rigid from like KPIs and SOPs, and we have to get this many people. So we'll see.
To clarify, so you and your wife currently talk among just you two about like the monthly success?
We have not specifically went over, like we have vision boards and we just made them, and we haven't specifically on a monthly basis like went over like, okay, what did we hit, what's going on, like, you know, just finger on the pulse. And so now we're like, hey, because I feel like 2024, anyone relate to this, like it just went by like that. So I was thinking if like there was a celebration of the month at the end of the month, that's where like the coin of the name came from before we were thinking this whole Momentum Monthly thing to make it more impactful from my wife's perspective. I was like, you know, this could be kind of cool just to like reflect back on the month for a second.
Yeah.
Instead of it being like Happy New Year and then you reflect on the whole year. Like how often do we just slow down and just like reflect
on stuff?
I
mean, the good thing about being sole proprietor is I get to do that every day.
Yeah.
Reflect in my journal, like what did I get done?
I saw that sitting there in your lap.
Took some notes before I came here.
Oh, okay. All right.
In case I needed them. But how is it being in a business with your wife?
So it's interesting. So I have my main company, which is like 85 to 90% of my time is Liftoff. And I'm here and I'm working and I'm doing my thing. And 85, 90% is Red's NT and she's working and she's doing her thing. And then when we retired her from teaching, she had this money sitting in CalSTRS, kind of like not really a 401k, but she had this retirement. And so I'm like, well, you know, you could have it sit there or we can put it to work. And that's where the coin of like this fix and flip thing. It's 55 plus in these like it's communities where it's like you have to be 55, they're mobiles, and you can get in for cheap. So we bought one for like 50, I think it was like 45 or 50, put a little bit of money into it, and I think we sold it for like 95. And we made like 30 grand or something like that on our first flip. We're like, oh, we're on to something, right? Now we're in contract right now, a year and a half later, it's 2025 right now, same exact double wide, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I think we're at 1978, 1979 unit. We're selling for $59,999. The same one we sold for 45 or 95,000 just a year and a half ago. So things have shifted quite a bit, which has put a lot of pressure on a relationship because of the fact that now I'm taking on more of the financial responsibility because she's growing her Reds NT company and she was pulling money out of the LLC based off the flips. Well, the flips stopped and then you're paying lot rent. And then you're like, oh shit, now we got lot rent. And where are we at? They're Airbnbs because Airbnbs give us cash flow.
Right.
Summertime Airbnbs are shit in Arizona, just FYI. If you didn't do anything with Airbnb last year up north, like it's just not as advantageous, especially
versus like in Old Town.
I would say if you have a whole space, it's more advantageous, like a whole house. Like our neighbors over here has their whole house they rent.
Yeah.
That helps. Outside of a shared space, which what we have. And then we have this just a little trailer on the side. It's just a 23-foot camping trailer. So that helped too. But yeah, it's been a little extra stressful because of the fact that we've had more responsibility financially on me, and you think you're going to do something and then it just kind of like totally kicks you in the butt and you're like, oh, this is going from cash flow and additional income for her revenue or her company, and then I got to pull a little bit out too on my side to like, okay, now I'm paying for everything and this stuff's sitting, and now it's a little stressful. So it's been stressful most recently.
The owning multiple businesses and like not keeping their finances separate is that something you thought about too? Because there's at a certain point you're like, well, how much more do I need to inject into this other business to make it work?
Yes.
But then like, because if you're getting money from another business, you're like, well, that one's working, then that's profitable.
Yes.
But you're using it as fun
money to fuel the other company, which makes no sense. And this is the biggest catch-20. The catch-20 is the fact that like you're dealing with 55 plus and lot rent and you can't do anything. You're locked in. So you can't sublease. You can't Airbnb. You can't do nothing. So you can't make revenue off this property that's just sitting there because you don't own the lot. And there's restrictions within 55 plus communities. Yeah. And they have like a twilight zone going with these different communities. They're weird. They're interesting. They like some had to be owner occupied for a year. You got to have income requirements. You got to be age requirement, just a bunch of stuff. So for us, it's like, well, I have to invest the extra $2,500 a month because it's $120,000 we're going to lose if we just walk away.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so we have one under contract for $60,000 right now. So that has been a little stressful from that perspective, but we're in, light at the end of the tunnel. One's under contract, one's still sitting. One under contract was like 7 months sitting, but you learn a lot, and we keep our stuff separate. Like I have my finances, she has her finances. She's very independent. I'm very independent, and she doesn't want to rely on a man to take care of her, quote unquote, but we're learning to start to get closer in that sense. And like, let's just put it together. Let's be on the same page. Like, where are we at? Like, So it's been a blessing in disguise for sure.
I mean, a lot of couples do. There's like those two different types of relationships where like they do work together, and the other one's just like, no, we love each other, but we're not having that type of relationship.
That's how we are. We love each other, but our LLCs together, it's like it was like a business thing for us to put our stuff together, but like personally keep it all separate, right? And so, because I have my own business partner with Liftoff Agent, and I've had way before my wife, and had this company for a long time, and so thanks to them for this show and all the edits, and Rainith, you're doing amazing. He's editing this show right now, and so I have all that established, which has been absolutely amazing, but yeah, it's a lot. I mean, last year I was going over the numbers. We hit 1,050,000. Yeah, nice. 50,000. So thank you so much. It was the first. Give myself one. Liftoff. It was the first time hitting 1 million, and
dude, that's awesome.
It was amazing, dude. But then there's so many more responsibilities when it comes to it. You know what I'm saying? There's just so many different things you don't think about, and then you're like, whoa. But it's been cool to say like, all right, cool. I have the means to be able to do the things that I'm doing. But then at the end of the day, you're like, fuck. If I just focus on the one thing, audience, listeners, guests,
Yeah, I mean, there are different philosophies on that in business too. About where you put or where you allocate your money and your attention to. It's like, well, do you want to go more of like that index, like mutual fund route, where you like just diversify, or are you like the Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, where you like have your sole focus on like just a handful, like a very small amount
Mm-hmm.
of items. And I can see both. I think as a business owner, it's probably best to put all of your eggs in like a couple of baskets, not diversify fully.
Yeah, not too much.
Unless you, but I think it's different too. Like once you get enough capital, then it is good to spread it around too.
The world's your oyster.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the idea of, and what I've really wanted to focus on and have everything be vertically integrated. So like if you got Liftoff Agent, cool, then the podcast helps you be able to build relationships and connections and go deeper and explore opportunities without being like, hey, sign up for my services. Like that's real estate versus technology, right? The fix and flip is in the real estate world. As far as I'm in real estate marketing, that's in real estate world. I can meet agents through that. When I do strategy sessions, I can talk about fix and flip, and then that's simple, quick fix and flip. But then I have the short term rentals, and I can talk about that. So I wanted it to be vertically integrated, all to be in the same realm of real estate business. But you don't have a crystal ball, and this house, we timed it just right. We got this house for 441, and it's worth almost 800,000 now, and we've made $100,000 per year off this house. It's
awesome.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
We're at 2.75 at $1,800 a month. Our roommate alone pays 900. Nice. You know what I'm saying? So like, so we're in a really good situation, right? So it's it's interesting to be like, oh, cool. When you do have a lot going on, you diversify. Oh, cool. The house is doing great. Right? Like, 2.5, so, $1,800 a month. But then you're like, oh, well, I got these two properties sitting, and that's at $880 a month for lot rent 1, $1,100 for lot rent 2. So this house is now up to like $4,500 a month.
Yeah.
Not, but
Right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it does come down to like luck, but you're also learning too, like with the 55 plus community. Because
oh my God,
you hadn't been involved with that.
Oh yeah, this is our 8th one. So we've learned
our 8th one.
Our 8th one.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done 8. So we have 2 on the market, and we'll probably do like 4 more this year. And then like maybe, I don't know, call it quits, or we really wanted to go more up north and get more property and do the Airbnb thing. I think that makes the most sense.
So do you want to rely on Airbnb, or is that just one route?
This one route?
Because you can have your own, Airbnb can be connected to like a different, what would you call it? Like a different server, right? Where you have like a scheduling, like the only reason that you would put something on Airbnb is because so it gets eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like a scheduling service.
Yeah, scheduling, payment service. They do everything besides like changing over the sheets.
Right. So I know I've heard a lot from people who put up short-term rentals, and they start on Airbnb, but then eventually just took it off. And they have their own website because they've become like this destination.
Yep.
Where maybe they did put it on social media and it became just so big.
Yep.
That they didn't have to rely on Airbnb as a platform to get.
Exactly.
And I don't know if you ever want to make like a destination type facility. Like I don't know.
We're already in the works of one. You want to see it? After the show, I could show you the location.
Okay.
It's actually up north. It's in Strawberry, and
nice.
It's there's like 5 properties on one, and it's like a half an acre.
Oh, nice.
It's like a garage, and then there's like a loft, and there's like a little cabin, and it has like 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and it's like upstairs, downstairs. And there's like another little spot that has like 2 bedrooms, or not 1 bedroom with like a bunk bed and like a little. It's like, and then there's like a fire pit in the center. It's really cool. It's a putting green on the place too.
Amazing, yeah.
So I was like, dude, could do cold plunge, hot tub, kettlebell. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, some of these places they book out like months ahead too.
Oh my God, that's what I think that for this place we're looking at could be like an event opportunity, an event center. But in the backyard here, we have some space for like a tiny home. And it could be like a pool house / tiny home. So we're thinking about building that out. It costs like 40, 50, 60 grand. And then putting that on Airbnb just to maximize what's the closest to home, because we could change sheets over or whatever else pretty quick. And the only reason why we kind of diversify is like, if this company Liftoff, the goal is like 15,000 agents, 1% of 1.5 million agents across the country. I want 12 million a month, and I want 186,000, and what is it? 12 million divided by, it's 186 million a year. And if we sold that, you usually sell a company 3x multiple, then you're at 300 million. Then what? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do next? Like, what's your next thing? So I just like the idea of like, and maybe it could be premature, but like the idea of like, okay, we're building this thing, and then like we have these other things like in infancy kind of going and then like dabbling a little bit. So when things do transition, I go to the next thing. It's like,
Yeah.
cool, that's cash flow positive. Those run itself. I'm hands off. Money's still coming in. You know what I'm saying? So like almost like when the company has the exit, that's just like a cherry on top, I
Yeah.
guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, that's the dream, right?
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you could be like Tom from MySpace and just like remove yourself from the world and just take photographs and define your life by that. But you don't seem like that type of person.
No.
You want to go into business and like keep optimizing and growing stuff.
Yeah. Keynote speaking, giving back. I want to go to schools and speak, which would be really cool. Get on more stages.
There was this tech entrepreneur. I forgot his name, but I think he started Meetup, I think.
Oh.
And I think he sold the company to whomever, and then after that, he just became. He started getting these like low level positions at different companies because he was curious about them.
Yeah.
And I think one of them was like an Amazon warehouse guy. I think he might be doing that right now.
That's so cool.
And he didn't advertise this at all, but because he's in the community, like people were just asking him like, hey, what do you do? I think he may have like published a blog on it, but like he didn't market it or anything, but he was just like, yeah, this is what I'm doing now. And he's just like, I just want to like see what it's like, being someone on like the lower end of like this large company, and he just like he's trying to stay humble. Like he has multi-million dollars, like I don't know, probably a couple $100 million to his name.
That's amazing.
But he's just like, yeah, well, this is what I want to do. And you have the freedom to do that when you have all that money too,
That's exactly what it's about. That's why I think who's viewing and listening, like starting your own business or having different ventures, it's just about the time and freedom to do what you want. And life
literally all money is.
Yeah.
That's how we should look at it, at least.
Exactly.
It's not a status game necessarily. Just have more time to yourself.
Yep.
Because time is really like the biggest commodity that you can have.
Amen.
Asset. So
yeah, exactly. That's why when you came in here before we started recording the show, he's like, "Oh, I see your personality and things are bright and vibrant and all the things, and it reminds you of that guy who has a Captain America gym here in Gilbert, right?" Yeah. And like we just put a lot of time and attention, and you could look around and be like, "Okay, you put a lot of energy and time and attention into this space." And it's just a transfer of energy. Like, hey, let's just do something cool and fun so we can inspire people and bring them in, and then they can ask questions and we could just enlighten them if they want any enlightenment. And that's the same thing with this show. Like you could be watching it now and you could be like, interesting conversation, getting something from it. Cool. Keep on listening. If not, well, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
you know?
This house is definitely you. I could see your and your wife's personalities.
I appreciate that.
In every inch of the house. So. Yeah.
we never definitely like overturned everything, dude. And there's still like a lot. Like I want to put a French door in here, so this is just opened up to the backyard, which would be really cool.
Have your listeners seen your
backyard?
The wall in your backyard? Did you paint that, or did
that was actually done by a guy on Facebook. So I had a buddy of mine. Quick side story. Shout out to Devin, and Devin was one of our first podcast guests, and or not podcast guests, first Airbnb guests. Still a guest, but not podcast. And he was a guest. We turned out to be friends. His wife moved out. His wife moved out here. His daughters moved out here as a union pipe fitter guy. And so he was out here just for a job. And next thing you know, he loved it. So he got a full-time gig, brought his family out. And he comes over and we talk about ideas of the house or whatever. And I told him about eventually doing something with the back wall. And he's just like, "Gotta get a message. Facebook, Devin." He's like, "Here's a guy, dude, that could do your back wall." And next, I'm fucking reaching out to the guy. And he's out there painting the wall. But it's just, we're from California, so it's nice to have kind of like a tropical.
It's
like at the beach.
Who've never seen it. It's a mural of a beach with some with a seagull flying in a palm tree. I can only see one angle, but yeah.
Yeah. And the palm tree matches the palm tree from the from the neighbor's backyard.
I keep looking at that. It like lines up. It looks like Malibu before the fires.
Yeah. God bless to the fire victims and all that type of stuff. But yeah, so that's a little bit of a, for the viewers and listeners out there, giving them all a little back end story about what's going on behind the scenes, a little bit about what we have going on. But I'm curious on your side, the company, and as you grow the company and as you go through this process, like how long have you been doing what you've been doing to this point? And like, what's the vision? What do you see for it in the future?
So I have two companies now. They're all under like the Touch Grass umbrella. Okay. So one is the Kettlebell training business.
Got it.
Started that 2022.
Nice.
I think it was like the end of 2022 or something.
Okay.
It's been like a couple years now.
Okay.
and that's when I quit my job too, my corporate job.
Let's just say congratulations. That's a liftoff moment, dude. This is the cool thing. Like, you went from having a fucking full-time gig
Yeah,
and then finding a hobby that you really like to a point where now it turned into like a business.
yeah,
So you can quit your other job.
yeah,
I was the opposite. I was just this like knucklehead, just doing this, doing that, whatever. And then I figured it out to a point where I'm at now, which you could choose any road you want.
yeah.
But that's really cool that you found something that was like good enough and it gave you enough fulfillment where you're like, okay, I'm going to be done with the corporate.
Yeah. Try to find a way to like mix my vocation with my avocation. And so
Love that.
so you just wanted freedom essentially. Is that what it was?
I've always been rebellious. I've always asked questions. I was told to put my head down and do my job from
Okay.
Costco and pizza places and all the things in like my early teens. And then I'm like, well, no one sees me as an asset. And I can't ask any questions because I'm just supposed to be doing this specific job.
Yeah.
And I get tired of shit so quick. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll do my own thing.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's good you had like the wherewithal to realize, because a lot of people think like you, but they don't necessarily have the balls to go and
No,
go ahead and do it. So
no, not at all.
good on you.
Thanks, bro.
So yeah, I think it's been a couple years. And then I started Touch Grass Co., which is an apparel brand, which also popped up as a result. There it is. I brought you a couple of items. If you want to open that up, you
This
can.
is dope, dude. I would love sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, established 2022. You know, I don't know if you believe in the angel number thing, but you got 222 there going on.
No, I don't even know what that means.
I don't know either. We could look it up. I don't know.
I'm the least like spiritual person ever. Way too pragmatic for numerology.
I love it, dude. Hey, at least you're honest. Yeah, so he brought this in, and I was just like not expecting anything, and I was like, "What?" And like, I thought we're talking about kettlebells here. Next thing you know, it's like got some freaking apparel.
Yeah, so I mean, as I mentioned, the story behind Kettlebell was that weird guy who was working out on the grass.
Okay.
And so I started this brand because a lot of other people across the world were also working out in nature on their lawns, and so it was just like a way for people to sort of connect with that sort of. It was something separate from the gym culture. You know, it was lifting weights, breathing fresh air during COVID, watching the sunset. And so this shirt is just like the standard Touch Grass Co. shirt. I don't know if you like logos, so I also with that, yeah, that's Touch Grass. I change that color every time whenever it sells out. I do it in a new color. And the second one, there's kind of a story behind that. It's from I wanted to develop a bamboo T-shirt because bamboo is technically grass.
This is actually bamboo.
Yeah, it's 100%. That one, it's either a blend. I forgot exactly which one. Yeah, it'll say on the tag.
It feels real soft.
Yeah, bamboo is extremely soft. A lot of times it's used for like sleepwear and
dude, this is
sheets.
Like you could tell, noticeably, you could tell. Like this is soft.
That's 100% cotton, that one, and then this is bamboo. I want all like natural materials, which is something that I've maintained for the past year, and I'm not going to use any more like synthetic fibers.
That's sick, dude.
The bamboo shirt, that one was made by an Indian company, a manufacturer, and finding quality manufacturers is a pretty difficult process, I would say.
Well, I can imagine you put with love on there, so you got to find a company that actually gives a shit.
And I'm still trying to find a company to make the exact shirt that I want.
So are you wearing one of them right now?
Yeah, this is actually that one.
Okay.
Coincidentally.
Wow.
So I like the raglan cut, if you want to go into the weeds. The raglan cut is basically the way the shoulder is seamed together with the torso.
Okay.
And,
okay.
And I like the raglan cut more because it doesn't interrupt that shoulder curve at all.
I like that, dude.
But with this company, I don't want to like talk too much crap about them, but these shirts were like, you know, the quality, like the material feels amazing.
Yeah.
But the cut is just completely inconsistent. So sometimes you'll wear a medium and it'll fit perfectly, and then other times it'll be like way too big, and it's like you can't just have quality threads. Yeah. You got to actually have the fit proper too, and so
exactly
finding every little bit of thing can be a difficult process. And I know when we first met, I was asking you about like hiring, because I find I don't know if I have too high of standards or what it is, but it's just like so hard sometimes.
It is
to find good help.
It is,
and it can be a long, arduous process. I assume it's different depending on the industry, but
yeah,
it's different working you know Peter Thiel, right?
Yeah.
He always talks about the world of atoms and the world of bits. And it's so much easier to iterate in the world of bits when it's digital.
Yeah.
You're just working with code. It's zeros and ones. It's all digital. If you want to try something out, it's really easy to just develop it online, put it out there, see how it does.
Yeah.
You can iterate very quickly.
Exactly.
But in the world of atoms, these T-shirts, making something physical is just it's more of an arduous process.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Especially if it's global, because you have to work with different time zones. You have to work with different languages, and then sometimes there will be some communication issues, and then you may not even know that there were communications until you get the product in your hand, and you're like, oh, they thought that I wanted the sleeve. They thought I meant this with the sleeve, but in reality, I meant something else. And so it's this long, lengthy process that is something that I've learned over time, just by trying and failing, and that's how we learn, right? There is some difficulty in the sense that I did not have a mentor. And this whole process would be so much quicker if I was raised in a family that.
Hence why you have a mentor.
Yeah.
Liftoff here. We have a Liftoff moment.
And so I thought you were talking about the agents for you to help out the.
Nah. I've coined the term we have Liftoff as far as like in the show when there's a moment in time where either I take notes for myself or or I then whoever's listening and viewing right now can think to themselves, okay, there's a moment where there's like note-taking moment. Rewind, play that, play that back again. Yeah. I.e. that's kind of what I'm thinking. Hence, Mr. Liftoff, right?
You have a tattoo.
Yeah,
of the logo.
Mr. Cool. Liftoff. Yeah, all in.
Yeah, and so I don't know where I was going with that, but
communication, shirts, cuts.
Yeah, it's like an art form, I would say.
Yeah,
like just being a business owner is an art form in and of itself, but I think that like the problem solving aspect of it is an art form too.
Yeah.
Dealing with people is an art form.
Yep.
That's something that I need to get a lot better at, I would say, because I am super risk averse. It took me a while to quit my job before starting this.
Yeah.
Because I needed to know, like, will I be safe? I didn't just like jump off the deep end, which is kind of more of what you did.
I'm your opposite, bro. Right? I'm the yin to your yang, dude.
Yeah. And I think that's good. I think both are valid depending on your personality. Because
for sure.
Like, be authentic to yourself. If I had done what you did, I probably wouldn't have been able to build as much of like what I've built, because there's I need to like sit down and have like a comfortable mindset before I just go on,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's been a fun journey, and I'm now in this space in 2025 where I'm realizing like I need to hire people, and so that's my big.
So all this is you. Now. So I'm doing everything. You're doing the app. You're doing the training, the Discord, now the shirt company.
I should say, like, I do hire people. I don't have any employees, though. So I have contractors. So, like, I didn't build the app myself.
Yeah. So you're contractors for specific things.
Yeah.
That you would need, like coding, whatever, for the app.
Yeah. Before the app, I did my website. Which is where I put all of my stuff out there. So I didn't have any help for that.
Got it.
But at a certain point, I was like, I can't build an app. Like, if I'm going to learn how to build an app, I'm not going to be able to do anything else. Like, take up, and I can't do that. So I need to just leverage some help.
Yeah.
And so I hired an agency to do that. So.
And apps are a lot easier now than they were before.
Yes.
They're cheaper. They're easier to do. There's websites you could basically just, it's almost like a Wix or something, like you just like Wix it out, but depending on the customization and what you want to do.
Yeah, I have a highly customized app. There are, if anyone who's listening to this is a trainer and they want to put their programs out there are what's called white label apps.
Okay.
There are these companies that most of them are European for some reason. I don't know why.
Interesting.
There's a couple of American ones, but basically they have a template.
Okay.
And you put all of your content in there plus your branding, and then it's like a quick app store approval because it's just the same template that like everyone else uses. So
nice.
It looks like your app, but really it's like their template. So you don't really have a lot of customization choices, but a lot of times it doesn't matter. But I'm such a picky dude. Like, I wanted to make exactly what I wanted, and I think you're the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, looking around your house, I could tell like you want things the way that you want things.
Exactly.
And so because at least we align with that, right? Temperament wise.
I like that. I do like that.
Then I really researched for like, I think like 3 to 6 months, just finding different. It was really hard to vet people.
Okay.
At the end of the day, though, I just put my faith in someone. I was like, in the meeting, I was like, he seemed confident, and confidence doesn't always equal competence, and that's something I learned in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was like, I mean, he seems like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And I've seen this, and then we start working. And I was like, thank God, like
It was good?
actually, yeah. There's a few minor things that are out of his control. We made a progressive web app, and I don't want to go too into the weeds on there, but it's technically not on the App Store, but you can download it from the website, like via a link.
Yeah.
So, or you can just visit the website. You don't technically have to have the app, but there are certain issues that there's one thing that just like cannot be solved with this technology because Apple. I'll just go into the weeds with one thing.
Yeah, you're fine.
One issue.
Hopefully it helps one person out there.
Progressive
Maybe
web
multiple.
apps. Yeah, exactly. Is so with workouts, one thing that is necessary is a workout timer.
Of course.
And when the workout timer's on, what you prefer as the user is to keep the screen on. And unfortunately, the iPhone disables third-party apps that like progressive web apps from keeping the screen on. So you have to manually go in and lock the screen so it stays awake. It's not an issue with Android, but anyway, like these small details. I bring this up just to bring up like small details that you would never know until you like actually dive in and learn. You know? But yeah, all these small little things. It is fun. Like I said, it's like an art form.
It is, and I think looking at like. Our show so far, believe it or not, we're already an hour and 10 in. There's different segments, and I just want to give some commentary and some feedback to viewers and listeners and what you said from the perspective of a couple things from like hiring, the cuts on the shirt, right? And I feel that like a lot of individuals just, you could tell if there's inconsistency with the company or the shirts or the cuts.
Yeah.
There's inconsistency directly reflected in their personal lives because it goes pretty hand in hand. Also, it could be less about the personal life. It could be the fact that like it's just about the money. It's not about the love. It's not about the level of service that needs to be at a level where it's like it's undeniably amazing, right? And like that's like one thing I think on the Liftoff agent side that sponsors this show is that yeah, I had a mentor. Yeah, we could have probably already had an exit. Yeah, I could probably also be multimillionaire by now, but there's something about getting into the weeds and being passionate and doing it the right way from the perspective of like customer service, doing it the right way the first time, like going deeper with your client set, making sure that like there are no bad reviews because you go so deep into the weeds with the customers to do what you can to make sure that they understand, like almost like they're a part of it. You know what I'm saying? You're like, this is where we're at with the company. You be super transparent where they're like, hey, cool. Thanks for the transparency. And then they feel that they're maybe a part of the growth as well or giving feedback to help with the company growing as well.
Yeah. I mean, it is damaging over the long term, though. I think it's good at the beginning to grow. But I mean, the name is Liftoff. I don't think you can like lift off too high if you don't scale via help. It is weird. I hold these like counter philosophies, but I think they're all contextually relevant. Like what is that quote? It's like if you want something done, go. If not, send. Do you know what quote I'm referring to or no?
No.
I don't want to be rude and Google it on my phone right now.
You're good, dude. Do it.
I'll just say that, I mean, if you want something done properly, like you know exactly what you want done, you might be the best person to do it. Go do it yourself. Yep. But when you send someone else to do that job, you're not going to have that same assurance that it'll be done the right way.
That's true.
But I think that as long as you have like the right systems in place built over the long term, you can reliably send someone to get it done as much as necessary.
Yep.
If you want to grow, like if you want to stay small, then like not necessarily, because you can be a mom and pop like pizza place,
of course,
for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
But if you want to start a chain, you're not going to be able to make all the pizzas.
Nope.
At every location. So you need, it's like, what are your goals at the end of the day? And so, if your goal is to grow, then yeah, you do need to.
I love that.
I think you like need to be comfortable with the idea of getting rid of some quality over the long term.
It has to happen. It has to happen, and that's when I feel like you have to pick and choose. For a given example, like okay, fine. So we have like for Liftoff, we have like editing's out there, socials out there, web development's out there, brand development's out there, the day in and day out, all that stuff is like, we have 17 staff members, they take care of everything.
Yeah.
On the front end, like the sales, the marketing, what that looks like is where I think you can kind of like pick and choose what you really want to go deep on, because you can't do everything in your business. And then you just do that one thing really good, which for us, it's like, okay, the sales, the marketing, and then duplicating myself. This is the goal for this quarter,
Right.
to then get to 168 agents for closing this year. 3 million is the goal. So I want to do a 3X on last year. And so that's where we're headed now. And I just know like, okay, cool. Like I want to make sure the integrity of the brand, like I could see for your brand, the integrity of the face of the brand, who's on the social, who's,
Right. Although I will say, I mean, in terms of like apparel brands, it's been done many times before.
Yeah.
To have these like big brands with an intent and like a meaning behind them.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting there, but I'm not as big as some of these other brands.
Yeah.
All I have to do, luckily, is to learn from them.
Yeah.
And be like, what do they do? I'm not going from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
This would be like going from 1 to 2 or whatever. Maybe when I can just see like, oh, someone else already did this, and so it exists. It's just like, how am I supposed to do that? I think for you, maybe, I don't know if this has been something that someone's done before.
Not really.
So you are going from 0 to 1 in that.
Well, there is like website companies, of course, and social media companies. What I'm doing isn't like never been done. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way that we articulate the value prop is different from the perspective of like, okay, so we're encompassing all-in-one solution for a real estate professional where we can start, ramp, or scale their business. And so like this company can build a brand, or that company can identify avatar, or that company can build a website, but we're bringing it together as a single solution in a niche market, which is real estate. And then being able to then help them passively prospect and grow their audience base off area, right? So geographical area, because maybe people relocating to the area, buyer type, seller type, right? And then helping them so they can be able to passively prospect and educate their clients and not have to sit there and be like, yes, Jeff, this is what's going on. Okay, Susie, and it just makes it so it's scalable. Yeah. And so yeah, this isn't a McDonald's franchise, if you will. So like, I don't really have a playbook for it. And there is a lot of, it's definitely chess, and there's some strategic moves you have to play to make it all work. And I can't even believe we got this far, dude. Like you think of these like big numbers and you throw them out there and you're like, oh yeah, like 300 million. It's so easy to say that, but then when you really get to the nitty gritty of the nuances of the business itself, the day in and the day out, and the hiring and the firing, and this person's sick and this is going on there, it's a lot. But I can say we're this close to having everything to a point where literally I can see myself in 2 years stepping back, and the company will grow with or without me.
Oh, nice.
So
you have the right systems in place.
Oh my God, that's amazing. It's just a matter of like you said earlier, and I didn't talk about it that much as far as this last segment, we talked about the hiring. And it is it's like finding someone that is like as passionate as you for the business is hard, because it's not their business.
I would just assume, tell me if I'm wrong, if this assumption is wrong, you just assume that they're not going to be as passionate about it because they didn't build it from the ground up, right? Like and they're starting from day 0. You
assume, and then this is where I think that is a good takeaway for viewers and listeners out there. You assume, and then you go deeper from the perspective of like, and this is what we do with our team and staff. What's going to be the goal of the customer? What's the goal of the staff member? And then what's the company goal? So if you put the staff member's goal ahead of the company's goal, and if the company is doing a good job, company culture, what have you, and then the team members like, oh my God, I have a vision board. Oh my God, I just bought this new car. I just got this, I got that. The customer's happy, like their shit's blowing up. They're getting additional views. They're getting clientele coming in because this is a Florida agent. There's a lot of people relocating to that area. They're watching the videos. They're getting millions of views. Then the company by default will get those goals. So I feel like when hiring, it's like, go deeper into why is that person doing what that person's doing? And even if it's not like they want to be with like Liftoff forever, okay, cool. We want to go through an exit in the next 8 years for $300 million. Cool. So like, let's get to that finish line. And if you want to start your own business or whatever else, like, let me help you get to where you want to go. And you just help me where I want to go. And we can have a symbiotic like relationship. So we both get what we want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where I'm at now to then find that person. But this is the hard part when hiring, and what I've learned over the past 10 years is personality traits.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. Like, are they
Making sure that they
consistent?
match.
Are they not consistent? Like,
With
just could
themselves,
be,
you
it could be with themselves. It could be with their emotions. It could be with personal shit going on in their own world.
Yeah.
They could be bipolar. There's so many little things where, like, because character traits, when hiring, you don't learn about the character traits until 6 to 12 months plus.
Yeah, like they reveal themselves long term.
Correct. Because they'll just be like, yeah, I'm the best ever, and blah, 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 the resume looks good, and you fucking hire them.
Right.
And they're like, they're laundering money, or they're taking merch and selling on the side or some shit. And you're like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. They have to be like stress tested over the long term.
Exactly.
Time sort of reveals all of that. Yeah.
That's why I was thinking, like, as an example, my sister-in-law, my wife is a twin sister. She's a realtor, and she's doing on the side right now. She's going through, and she's doing substituting, and then she's also selling real estate. So I'm like, well, how much is she making substituting? Like 48 grand, 49 grand, and she's in like Black Hawk, California. Average medium home sales price is like 2 million in California. It's a really freaking rich area, and she's had success to get to the place where she has this condo that she has, and she has a couple kids, so she can't move out here because of divorce and her ex-husband. But I'm like, honey, I know her character trait, and I know that she is someone that is true and tried from the character trait, and then also is good with like organization and certain things that I'm looking for like HR, property, or HR management, some things behind the scenes that potentially I could hire her for. So that's where it's like almost like looking at your community network and seeing if there's someone that you have close,
Right.
that potentially could be.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have network effects with relationships like that. If you've spent enough time with them, you have your own way of communicating and you can trust them.
Yes.
I mean, that would be another example of you like working with a family member. So that could be muddy for some people, but
it could be.
If it worked for you, then that works.
I don't know. It could be. Yeah. It is family members out there.
Yeah.
It could be. Yeah. It could be dicey too. But so that's where it's like, you just have to jump into the deep end, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like kind of hope for the best. But at the end of the day, it's all like iterating, figuring out what works best.
Yeah.
And if it could benefit both of you, then like, why not?
That's exactly yeah.
I was talking to my brother about working together, mostly with like real estate ventures. We haven't done anything yet, but but it's the consideration. But yeah, I mean, finding a business partner for Touchgrass Co. or Bellmade, it would have to just be like come naturally, I think.
Yeah.
Organic. I'm not going to go on Upwork and be like, hey, do you want to like have like some equity in my company?
No, submit your resume if I can be a co-founder of this this organization. No.
I mean, to hire someone. Oh my God. Something else. If you want to talk about logistics.
Yeah.
I personally fulfill every order.
Really?
My least favorite aspect of this job.
Interesting.
Is fulfilling orders.
You got ASU right there, dude. I'm sure you can find a college.
I know. So I'll probably end up doing something like that.
Yeah.
But
give them fucking college credits for
college credits.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll give them some money, but
they get credits for like entrepreneurship or whatever. They do an internship. They get credits, and then
they would quit after like 2 weeks. They'd be like, "This is the most boring job." Maybe not. Well, so anyway, it's
looking for a job.
Yeah.
Eric up.
ASU students are listening to this. Reach out.
Yeah, Eric's looking for someone.
But I tried to leverage. They have fulfillment companies.
Okay,
they're pretty common. I mean, especially during.
I mean, you would think, right?
Like, a lot of real estate went to the industrial space because a lot of people like Amazon warehouses and other people like. There's a lot of just online, retail, and so I reached out to these companies.
Okay, the
way that it works, business model wise, is they do it by SKU, most of them, and so they charge you, SKU, SKU is? SKU? Yeah. Okay. So they charge you by the amount of SKUs that that you like rent out to them, plus like space, like there's all these calculations. The issue with apparel is that every different size, so like if I have that shirt in a small, medium, large, and extra large, that's 4 different SKUs. Multiply that by like 50 or so, whatever designs that I have, there's zero way to make it profitable unless you're selling like unless you're like one of these like international companies, and then
millions of shirts.
Then you have your own stuff in it. You have your own infrastructure for that anyway. So just the economics of it all don't make sense for me to contract it out to like one of those companies that does this professionally. At least not the one that I've found. If there is anyone who's listening to this who knows apparel fulfillment in Arizona, great. And so that's another thing. So that's why I fulfill it myself. So yeah, I would like to hire someone to help me
Interesting.
do it in person, and then again, you're geographically constrained. But again, that's my mission in 2025 to help me grow this, is to find some help so I can just like not think about that anymore.
Hey, you're hearing this first, so if you want to help this guy. Well, I think there's something to be said too when growing a company. And that's why there's like the hierarchy. That's why there's a CEO, a CFO, and you go all the way down.
Yeah.
Because I think you could even potentially find someone who could just be like, hey, like, just help me part time. This is where I'm at. This is where I want to go with the company. And you find someone who's super excited and eager and willing to learn. And, you just kind of maybe they turn into something else. I know there's some younger entrepreneurs, young minded people that are go getters will be looking at it like, oh, this is a cool opportunity for me to use for my own endeavors. And like they'll take what they learn and they'll fucking fuck you, Eric, I'm out. Or they'll actually roll with you and go through the growth and that process. But I think that if, I think the nuances from individuals out there that work for someone or individuals that actually work for themselves, the biggest difference is the people that work for themselves know what they want. The people that don't may know what they want, but they don't take action to get it.
Say more. What do you mean?
So like, say for instance, like if you're a business owner and you're someone that like wants a big house, or you want to help a lot of people, or you want nice cars, or whatever it is that you want, like, that you want it, and you have this idea and you see there's a need in the marketplace. And so you start this company. And then a company is not more than just helping someone with whatever their pain point is. Okay, cool. Now you're making money, you're doing your thing and whatever. And then you have employees that's underneath that organization because either they've been indoctrinated into thinking they just need to work a job.
Yeah.
So then they're suppressing the emotional.
I feel like that's the common
responses, right?
Common psychology that a lot of employees probably have. Would you say?
Oh my God, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And it could be like we work with a lot of individuals in the Philippines, and what we see is that a lot of them are suppressed. And they're very strict out there, and the culture and everything is just like you work hard. You're very loyal. You listen up. You tell the boss everything when you go to the bathroom, when you're taking a break. Like it's like my wife and I, and my wife's traveled a lot more than me. She's traveled lots of different countries, and she said that the Philippines was the most kind of like strict country she's ever been to. Like they check your bags when you go into stores. Like there's always a security guard at every location. For us as Americans, they're a little bit more loose with us and didn't check my wife's stuff because it's just like, come on back, spend your money with us. But that's just, I don't know what I thought. But it's interesting because I've worked on a lot of them just feeling like they talk to me and they're like, oh my God, I'm talking to a CEO of the company. Like that doesn't happen there.
Interesting. I would have thought it's like the exact opposite. I've never been to the Philippines.
No.
My understanding of Tagalog is that it's a pretty like fluffy language, and that like it's more. And I know they love karaoke.
Oh my God, huge.
So I assume their culture was more like fruity and like less stringent, but apparently that's not the case.
Oh, it's totally opposite. They love karaoke because they're trying to get away from all the stresses and the bureaucracy and the BS that they're dealing with. I mean, it's just like they deal with so much more, but I don't think they understand it because they haven't been anywhere else to really see the the contrast of like what could it be if you can just like do what you want to do for yourself and just be more free and open and start your own business or whatever. So we definitely treat them with an open door policy and ask them what their goals and aspirations are. And I check in with every single one of our team members every single month, once a month, just to go deeper with the connection and the relationship. And it's been amazing. I've been to the Philippines already a couple different times. Went last year before last for our company trips. And we just went to Bohol, Philippines back in October and had about 20 of our staff members plus their plus ones, about 30 of us out there. And they were just dumbfounded. They're like, whoa, like, is this reality right now? Like you're
the CEO, like you came and visited them and
came and visited them and like paid for them all to stay in this elaborate freaking resort. And
that's awesome.
Like had these like 3 catered dinners. And it was just like, it looked like a fucking wedding banquet or something. I was also kind of impressed myself. Holy shit.
You're like, dang, we did all
this shit. And then we had to fire a few people and then you're like, all right, let's have a better procedure before we just grant anyone the opportunity to have all the things because they need to earn it. And if you don't earn it, then it's like,
wait, the timeline. So you did this, they took the trip.
in October.
All this, and then you fired someone like right after that. Is that what you're saying?
2 people, yeah, because we should.
You're like, you got a little too drunk when I visited, so you're out.
So you're out. No, it's nothing personal like that. It was more so like they had personal things going on, and that's I don't want to get too deep in the weeds because HR, but it was just some personal shit that went down, and so for them, they just need to go in their own direction, which is totally fine. But what I'm getting at is that you also don't want to give people too much too quick because then they could take advantage of it. And as much as you might just be thinking it's kind and you're looking out for this person, and then you find yourself out like, oh wow, like I just got taken advantage of, or
well, there's there's so many other aspects of the bit, like these admin things that you have to think about, psychology, and it's not actually the meat of the business, but you have to spend time and energy to make it the business work.
Yes.
So it's I wouldn't call it an opportunity cost, but it is a cost you have to incur when you hire people. I feel like people are like the messiest form of leverage. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's why AI is coming out. That's why AI is starting. They said that there's a study saying in 2028, I think it is, or something like that, 2028, 2030, AI is going to be more beneficial to small business owners than large corporations because small business owners are finding out a way to switch the way that you leverage AI to then turn that into an opportunity to take down opportunity costs. Like instead of like hiring all these people and having all these staff members, like you don't need that anymore. You could use AI to do so many different things. Like you just need to get one of your Tesla bots and you're good, dude. A little robot, if I can do in your baggage.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it'll be beneficial for a large. It depends on the type of business too.
Yeah.
I mean, with robotics too. I mean, these physical large, like McDonald's, that's like a PR issue if they fire a bunch of.
They're too big.
Yeah.
Way too big.
I'm definitely intrigued. I haven't used AI at all, except for like maybe certain instances when I'm like writing large pieces.
That helps a lot.
I really have this philosophy that like you shouldn't use a tool unless you need it. Like you shouldn't force yourself to use a tool unless like it actually will help you reach that. Like you should build because you want to build the end product.
Yeah.
Not just for the sake of building it.
Yeah.
So I don't have too many use cases for AI right now. But if I can get an Optimus robot to do all of my apparel, that would be sick.
That'd be a lot easier. Yeah, we use AI for a lot of things, like whether it's transcription of videos or helping out with write-ups, titles, SEO, stuff like that. Video to blog, stuff like that. So that just helps our team because they do speak Tagalog. So it's like, okay, cool. Like this is going to help them become more efficient with the process. But yeah, it's very interesting. AI is going in the direction of like sales, cold calling, like prospecting. So we'll see what happens in the future. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I hope all of your employees are still working in
they will. We're gonna be doubling. Actually, our goal, and my partner, he actually alluded to it. He's like, I want to double. I'm like, double? Like, okay, cool. Like usually I'm the guy who's always like the cheerleader and like the number guy, like we're gonna do this, and now finally he's getting to the point where he's just like, all right, cool, want to double in size. I'm like, let's do it.
So let me ask you something. So is there a quantitative or expectation, maybe not quantitative, but at least qualitative conversion where you can say, if I do this input, in this case employees, then I get X. If I put in X employees, then I get Y output. Do you see that pattern?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you can tell, like, if I just hire this person for this job, I know for sure, like, or on average at least, that I'll get this.
Oh, you will for sure. I mean, because you got to think about it like from the perspective of just you break it all down. Okay, I'm doing this job. Cool. How much time is it taking me to do this job? Okay, cool. How much time could I be saving, and how much is my time worth? And the average CEO is 250 an hour. So you figure, okay, if you're worth 250 an hour, and you're bagging clothing, and then you're going to the post office, and then you're batching, and you're sending them out. Like my wife's doing the same thing, and it's just like, well, what is your time worth? Could you find someone else who could do that? And then at the same time,
it's opportunity cost.
Exactly. But then you could also look at the opportunity cost as like an opportunity for it to then transpire to more. Like, okay, little Cindy, like, this is the mechanics of the business outside of just doing the apparel packaging and batching and shipping. And, this is where we're headed. This is what we're doing. And do you have any interest in that? And I think there's something to be said to find someone like I'll say work wife is Vitz. And Vitz goes from debt collection company, supposed to be a nurse to like now my right hand person. And so she's doing a little bit of HR. She's one of our team leads now, and she takes ownership of the company like the company is her own. And like for real estate versus technology, I would say 85 to 90% of the guests were all found because of her.
Wow.
That's 470 guests. Okay. And then you figure, okay, we've closed probably $25,000 in one time, and we're probably bringing about 15,000 reoccurring revenue from business earned because of the podcast and those opportunities, right? This podcast, it's mainly me. I'm doing this because this is in person, and I want to build more community in Arizona, and
Right.
you know, and I'm also wanting to have interesting conversations. Not that she can't scout for this. So opportunity cost for that, it's been great because she's already paid herself. She's already paid for herself, and also Cha and Bernadette, 2 more hires just from what we're getting from the reoccurring and everything. And then now she's doing a little bit of HR, a little bit of billing, a little bit of management. Like she's scouting on the podcast. So she's doing 5 or 6 roles. And it's been absolutely amazing. So finding someone when hiring anyone out there too is like find someone who can be a little bit of a chameleon. So then the opportunity costs, it goes down a bit because then you can get them to do 2 or 3 or different jobs.
Yeah.
So instead of spending $300,000 on 3 different roles, you have one person that you're spending $90,000 or $80,000 for 3 roles. And then when you find out what they really love, then you get them to go in that direction. And that's what we've done over the years. It's like we've moved people around to find out, what do you really love to do? What really ignites you? And they're like, okay, cool, this is it. So you're going to go in this direction. And it takes time.
It's the positive story that comes out of hiring.
Yeah.
It's not, and it seems like it's not even like a linear result either. It could be exponential, just depending on like that fit. That they have.
I think the biggest thing is, it's funny, like like when you meet people with Liftoff and whatever, it's like, everyone wants the quick, oh, look, all these leads, and I got this return on investment. I invested this, and I got a 5x on my return. But you got to start from the beginning, which is simple, which is like, okay, what is your time worth? And if you hire this person, or if someone hires like Liftoff agent, first thing we're going to do is we're going to like get you focused, get you organized, and then we're going to save you time. And then when you get focused, then you can freaking do what you need to be doing to then generate more income. Then you have more time to generate income, and then do what we're telling you to do, which is like, for example, film videos to passively prospect, so we can do video to blog and help you with SEO and put your videos out there on YouTube, and then your website gets more exposure, just for example's sake. And then from there, it's like, oh my God, I just got a closing, right? And that could be 3 to 6 months. And then you can quantify the fact that like, okay, in 6 months, I spent 2,500 or 5,000 startup and whatever, 2,000 a month. And now I've seen my return on investment at the 6-month marker. So for a staff member, it's like, okay, like you're going to hire the person. It's going to be a little bumpy, and then it'll start smoothing out, and then you'll start to see the time savings, and then you'll be able to be like, whoa, now I have more time to bring on some training clients, or come up with new designs, or do more marketing, do more social content, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then you can go even bigger with that. That's why I think that like the biggest thing I would recommend for anyone is like hire someone overseas, dude. Hire someone in the Philippines. They're not proactive. They're very reactionary. So you got to give them good SOPs and KPIs. But as long as you give them the good KPIs and SOPs, and they know to check the email, they know to post this post, they know to, do, cross the T's, dot the I's, like they'll do it. They'll do a great job of it. And then if you start, like I start like 4:30, 5 o'clock, my team starts around 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm done at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and they don't stop until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm almost 24 hours.
Oh, so you start pretty early in the day because that's like the afternoon for them.
So they're after. So right now, if we're time recording, it's like 2:47, and it's Friday. It's Saturday for them at like I want to say like 5:47 or 6:47 in the morning.
Yeah. So they have like you told me like
it's like a day and 2 hours.
They have a huge nighttime culture over there because it's like remote work is.
Yeah, and our team doesn't have to work nights. They only work in the daytime.
Okay.
So, but they work really early. But then they also get off really early. So, but you can't have them also work in the evenings. They're very much accustomed to that as well. I just want them to have some type of like normalcy.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, they don't unfortunately get up and go to the gym and do all the things like I do, but they do get to get off early so they can go to the gym at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's good.
And have a couple hours to themselves, and then
swing some kettlebells.
Huh? Exactly, swing some kettlebells, dude.
Yeah, I mean, definitely hire someone in the Philippines if they can fulfill my t-shirts. Maybe I'll and shorts. Maybe I can pull my apparel over there.
Yeah, you never know, dude. If you had your apparel,
No.
you could
Most
hire.
of my orders are in the U.S., so I think that would be
That'd be hard.
That'd be counterproductive.
That'd be hard. Yeah, it'd be cool to like to get it done there. As far as like, okay, cool, it can be printed, it can be fulfilled, but then individual orders, the shipping would be crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
mean, I get European orders, and like shipping those individually can get pretty cost prohibitive for people, but people are still willing to spend the money for a product they love. So.
Yeah. I can imagine. So then for you, you're going to be
vertically
integrating both. So the kettlebells and the
not
shirts.
Completely, because I'm going to, oh, you mean the two companies?
Two companies. Like they work pretty much well.
They're like in tandem, and like because I was responsible for the designs, they're aesthetically similar too. Like if you go to Bellmade, it's bellmade.app, and you look at the aesthetic to that, and then you go to Touchgrass Co., that website, which is tgco.co. People have commented like, why do these look like they're the same? Like they're not. Like they use different fonts and like there's different colors, but there's something DNA about them. Yeah, you could tell there's like something similar with them. I do want to keep them separate though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like the opposite route that you're taking.
Okay.
I don't think. I mean, I think there's like opportunities for like collaborations. Like for Bellmade, I've been thinking about like coming out with a Bellmade just T-shirt for like. Maybe as like a welcome package for people who get like an annual membership or something like that.
Yeah.
Or people who've been with the programming for like 2 years.
I love that.
Send them
you could have
a shirt.
You should have shirts, and you should have your own branded kettlebells.
My own branded kettlebells. That is something I purposely avoided because fulfilling kettlebells. Well, I wouldn't do
pricey
it myself.
For weight and shipping.
Extremely pricey. Yeah, weight and shipping. I have a friend who does that. And he's talking to me about the business side of things. He does it all himself. He gets them out every like few days, and that's just not how I want to spend my time. If I'm moving a kettlebell, I'm working out. I'm not fulfilling orders.
I love it.
Plus you have to package them. You have to put them on the boxes, and just moving all of that inventory.
Oh my god,
insane. But I have thought about designing a kettlebell because there are some things I want to change about like typical kettlebell.
There you go.
Ergonomics.
There's your third venture. We're gonna hire someone before you can get to the third.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Gotta figure out how to scale. Yeah.
So then, so back to kind of like the beginning of the show. I know we're getting closer to the end of the show. Like when swinging kettlebells, working out, going through the process, what would you say as far as your body and when you think about the way it looks, like not chest? You said chest is not great for it, but what do you see beneficially wise when you think about aesthetically, like what really shows or shines from that type of specific workout?
So the core is activated.
So a lot more abs.
Not abs. I would just your general like core area, your stomach, like your obliques and your abs. Yes, you're not gonna get like super defined abs just from doing kettlebells, which is like probably controversial to say, but it becomes like if you think about the unilateral movement from kettlebells, if you're just using one bell, right, and it's racked on the right, you need to offset it, and so the way that you do that is by using your core muscles, and so and even if you're using doubles, you're front racking it, so you have to stabilize from falling over. So you're using your core like all the time with kettlebells, just to maintain that balance. And so typically, like if you're only working out with kettlebells and you end up getting like super heavy, you'll see these people with like these thick torsos that are just like, you see it a lot in jiu-jitsu too, but like these people who just look sturdy, they're just like these thicker humans where they have like a trunk.
I love that.
Tree trunk for like if you're looking at like what would happen if you get, and this is really only if you get like super into kettlebells and you're using like really heavy weights, mostly you'll see a lot of changes there. The traps typically get a lot bigger. Glutes, depending on like what movements, because with using kettlebells you could do a lot of different types of programming and exercises too. There are some people who try to bodybuild with kettlebells, completely inefficient. If you really want to get into bodybuilding, again, just use dumbbells, barbells, machines, like all the standard stuff. Yeah, because you're not going to target specific muscle groups. A lot of kettlebell training is just using compound movements, multiple muscles at once, and because you're using multiple muscles at once, inevitably one of those is going to tire out before before the other,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you have one larger muscle that's being activated at the same time as a small muscle, typically the small one's gonna
Yeah.
go to failure before the larger one. And so really with bodybuilding, you want to go to failure with individual muscles so you can grow all of them,
Got it.
right? But really, kettlebells force you to use your body as like a single unit so that all your muscles can interact together. And that's sort of why people call it functional fitness, because when you're moving naturally within the world,
Yeah.
in this like 3D environment, you're moving at different angles, you're putting weight on your body, one angle 1 second and another a different second. You can sort of replicate that with kettlebells too, because it's such an uneven shape and the way that your body interacts.
Yeah, yeah.
So it has more like real world applications in that regard.
Okay.
But yeah, in terms of aesthetics, I mean, I might be an example. Like, I look fine. I'm not like a big bodybuilder or anything, but go on. I mean, just type in kettlebell on Instagram. You'll see a lot of people. I will say though, there are people online who use kettlebells, but it's not how they attained their physique. So you gotta look out for that.
I can imagine too. Like, it's really good from the perspective of like just your day in, day out activities, because I think fast twitch muscles and like whether you're walking upstairs, picking something up, picking your child up,
Yeah.
And Jordan's like almost 55 pounds now. It's like I can imagine core is huge because we were just in Kona and my back was like off, and I'm like, all right, I need to do more abs. Like, my core needs to be stronger so my lower back doesn't have this issue because I'm not doing any core. And I just kind of equated it to that.
Yeah. I mean, you probably also need to work your back too. I don't know how often you work your lower back.
It's
a lot of times people completely avoid working their lower back muscles because they're afraid of tweaking their lower back. But really, it's a muscle just like everything else. You should work every muscle.
Yeah.
Especially like more compound movements so that you are familiar with how your body does move. But yeah, a lot of times it is the core too that's just like weak. And
I love it. That's so true.
Yeah.
And then what does it look like? So I don't know, someone out there is like, hey dude, like I'm gonna do a workout. Like what time frame, how long?
One kettlebell?
Like if you're gonna work out, like what does it look like? So you want to have what, one or two, and then how long is typically a workout?
So if someone's just starting out, I recommend one kettlebell.
Okay.
One of the biggest like newbie questions I get is what weight should I start using?
Okay.
For men, I typically recommend 12 or 16 kilograms.
Okay.
And for women, it's 8 or 12 kilograms. And kettlebells typically go in kilograms. They do in pounds as well, so you can get them in 5-pound increments.
Okay.
But they're like more of, it's just because they're more of like a European tool, so that's why they go in kilograms. And there's also like an international standard for kettlebell sport.
Okay.
I would start with a single bell and just get accustomed to the simple movements. So swing.
Okay.
I would start with two hands, clean, snatch, press, and squat. And really, if you're really just starting out, you should just be practicing those movements, and that will be a workout in and of itself. And then after you're like semi comfortable, it takes a lot of it. Kettlebells are more of a skill, than dumbbells. With dumbbells, you can really just like pick them up and know kind of like what to do with them. Mm-hmm. But with kettlebells, it does take a lot of proficiency. You want me to give a workout? Is that what
Sure. What you got?
For a newbie, I would just keep it simple. I wouldn't do any like time-based workouts or anything like that. If you're doing a full body workout, start with 5 sets of swings. If you're using a 12 kilogram and you're new, you're probably gonna be comfortable with like 8 to 12 reps per set.
Okay.
You'll be learning like what part of your body interacts with that when you're swinging. A lot of times people use their lower backs because their lower backs are going to be sore because they just neglect them for their entire lives. And like now it's activating for the first time. And so their body's like, what the hell is this?
I love that feeling.
Really, it should be a lot of glutes and some lower back and the rest of the back too with swings, quads, some hamstrings. So after those 5 sets, what I would do after that, honestly, is go into goblet squats. Goblet squat, you just hold the bell by the bell. And I'm just gonna say 4 movements, 5 sets each. Goblet squat down, 5 each time. If you're using that 12 kilogram, if you're a newbie, you'll probably get like 10 to 20 reps per set.
Got it.
And then let's see, if this is your first time, I don't think I would go into the snatches. That would be a little bit too difficult. Now I would do some presses on each side. And then, yeah, you could finish off with some snatches. And
Okay.
it really depends on the person. I mean, I have so many different types of workouts. It's really, a lot of people ask me, like, what should my workout be? And I mean,
Yeah.
it really depends. I mean, like, if you're doing a full body, upper body, lower body, that's typically how I split things up. Yeah.
I love that. And for
it's
you,
so variable too.
what kind of weight are you at, and how long do you go for?
Well, it depends on the movement. You can swing way heavier than you can press.
Okay.
Um,
That makes sense.
I've gotten to a point where I don't own as heavy of kettlebells as I should. I use them at my gym.
Yeah.
And they have a bell that's like, I think that our heaviest one, the heaviest bell that I've swung is like, I think it's like a 92 kilogram, I think.
Wow.
Which I don't even know how much that is in what's 92
It's over 100
times 2.2. Yeah, it's like 200 something pounds. So you could swing like really heavy. It's basically like a dynamic deadlift if you think about it.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, like the kettlebells just don't even get big enough to where you can swing them. I mean, you can't swing them like all the way parallel. I don't want to do a Nazi salute. Parallel to the ground. Because they're just too heavy for that, which is typically like you go pretty high for normal swings. But once you get heavy, you can't really go that high.
Huh.
But I mean, for the press, I think 48 kilograms is my press now, 106 pounds.
Wow.
I think I do like a push press, not a strict press for that.
Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on the movement.
And when you do your content, like for anyone who's going to follow you on the gram, is that you filming yourself and doing everything?
Yeah, and that was before I came, I was on 5 lessons. I didn't know if we had like a schedule to go through, so I was like, no, I'll write 5 lessons I've learned from my. And one of those was me figuring out how to film myself, and it was like think inside the box. That was one of the lessons that I learned. Think inside, because when I saw this content online, a lot of people had other people recording them, and they hired them. I was like, I'm not going to hire someone to. Going back to hiring, of course. I was like, I don't have the money. This is a hobby. I'm like, why would I hire someone like
coming up again?
Potentially like $200, to $500 per video, like for recording and working out. That's insane.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how am I going to make my videos interesting visually? And so I set up a tripod. At this point in Instagram's like algorithm, the dance videos were like super pop. They might still be popular. I just don't get them in my algorithm anymore. But those dance videos of people like dancing on the street, like those TikTok dances, people are dancing on the street and like the camera follows them.
Yep.
And I was like, I want to do that, but with kettlebells. So I just like learned how to do that. And so it's just me filming, and I still just like set up a tripod and film myself. So,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And it's probably a lot of editing to do the different.
Yeah, I've gotten faster at it, but it does take a while to do all those edits. So.
Well, there you go. Maybe you'll find a little manifestation there. Find someone who is watching or listening to the episode. Maybe they're at ASU. Who knows? They can help you with the shipments. They can help you with a little filming. They could. Who knows? They could teach them how to do a little bit of the editing and.
Yeah. I mean, well, not the the editing. I get emails every day from people who are like, I'm a professional video editor. I'd like to help you, and I think I'll take them up on it once I get a YouTube channel, which I don't currently. I have a channel. I just don't.
I'm surprised you don't have a channel that you maximize, just from the perspective of like
fulfilling touch grass co-orders. That's
why. Man, dude, you got to hire someone already, bro. Because you could be educating anything over 1,000 subs, 4,000 hours of watch time. Now you're supposed to have 10 million views on shorts, which is stupid. You get monetized.
What do you mean you're supposed to? Oh, to get monetized.
Yeah, get monetized. Yeah,
shorts.
So because they added the shorts thing in, but. Shorts is separate from long form, and the audience is different. Long form audience of people that are deliberately searching for something,
right?
And then short form is just algorithm. It feeds you what you think you want to see.
Dude, I think long form is way better than short form.
I think short form has been the demise to our existence because of the fact that people have such a small extension span, and then it's all 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds, and then even like my wife, it's like. Did you see the whatever? It's like, then she goes in the Instagram to go see, and then she's like, honey, you just watched like 3 other videos of these, like, just can you focus, please? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's so short and it's good content. It's just like, it coaches you to be like next. It's like, can you just sit with something for a second? Like the fact that like I've talked to a few people who are like 2-hour podcasts. what is this, Joe Rogan? Are we gonna smoke a doobie? I'm like, do you want to? Like, what the like? Who cares? You can't.
Tell me if you're the same way as me for these longer form podcasts.
Yeah.
Podcasts specifically, not like YouTube videos. I'll listen to it throughout the span of like a week, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You do that too?
Yeah, it depends on the podcast, depending on the situation, but sometimes, yeah, because if it's long, I'll have to go back to it.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends. And I know that for me, if I'm going to work and do that, like we talked earlier in the show, like 3 hours of just Excel sheets or just whatever, like busy work, I like to listen to music more so than listen to the podcast because I do feel a little fragmented because I feel like I really want to consume whatever it is I'm listening to. And then if I'm trying to focus on whatever, then I'm not really present with either.
There are certain podcasts, like you mentioned Joe Rogan, those ones that are more like conversational, where you have, I hate to say it, but you have like a parasocial relationship with them.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like hanging out with the boys, you know? You
Yeah.
don't have to pay attention that closely.
No.
Unless it's, you know, someone who's putting out specific information where you want to learn from them.
Yeah.
So, like, there's different types of long form podcasting, but yeah, I agree. I think you do get that form of fragmentation that you really want to pay attention to it. So I most of the time listen to podcasts when I'm driving or if I'm like on a walk.
I love that. Walk and driving for sure, especially road trips. And I think that like my intention behind like say the Liftoff experience is like, it's one thing for our audience and it's another thing for like a new audience that's going to find us. And it's another thing for your audience. Cause I feel like that anyone who's watching it that already follows you and it's a part of, you know, your ecosystem and your community, they can get a different perspective of what's going on. And who knows, maybe from this experience, you'll find that person that you're looking for, or I'll find that person, because we're both looking for people, right? Speaking of hiring, I'll find that person that's going to help with the scaling of the sales division / you know, I need some behind the scenes for operational standpoint. And maybe you'll find, you know, what you're looking for fulfillment and what have you. So you never know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's talking about leverage. Like, you just put this out online and you don't know who's going to listen.
You have no idea.
What the impact is going to be.
I went to this spiritual retreat. Speaking of your vibe here, went to this, it's Just Grow podcast. And it's with Nico, and he has like the woo and the do. It's a podcast. It's live. The do is like just like doing business, SOPs, KPIs, whatever. Yeah. The woo is like a little bit more woo woo. It's a little bit more meditation, spiritual side. And so I went to the woo woo one, and I met this guy, and he we had a podcast guest on, and he has a company called Middle Finger Mantra, and it's
Middle Finger Mantra.
Yeah,
they meet at my apartment complex.
He was on the show, the founder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm like really good friends with one of the members of that. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. Small fucking world, dude.
I've for sure seen him in my building.
Yeah, he's I don't know, see if I can see him on the TV over there, but he was on the show.
What's his name?
And I'll tell you right now, I don't know why I'm freaking drawing a blank for.
That always happens to me. Sorry,
but dude,
I always forget people's names.
Like, hold on,
I'm more of a face guy.
I'm a face guy. I'm a face guy too.
Why you're doing that? You love Monopoly.
I do. I grew up loving Monopoly. I haven't played as much since before, but
yeah. Monopoly Deal?
No.
You know what that is?
No.
All right, I gotta show you. It's a card game.
Really?
Yeah, it's quick.
Dude, we love playing card games. We're all about it. But yeah, I'm down. So the podcast is the ultimate journey. So he went through a bunch of stuff. He was going to be a professional baseball player in the whole nine, and then he switched over and now is doing what he's doing. But Middle Finger Mantra, he's the founder of it. And I might have to just go to our Instagram to specifically. But this guy, I don't know if you've seen him with the hat and the beard.
Hair. Yeah, he's on that second icon up there, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And so, so we went through, he was on the show, and yeah, we just basically, I went to this event, I was going to this event, then one of the guys that he knows, Ryan. So Ryan was at Nico's event, and I was there, and my wife was there, and then I met this guy, and he was talking about Ryan's podcast and this and the other thing, and next thing you know, as he's talking about the podcast, he's like, we got synced up together in this, like, we're supposed to all get into groups or whatever, and then from groups you get into partners. And I'm partnering with this guy, and this Indian dude, super cool guy, I can't remember his name either. If you're listening, I love you, bro. And so he's like talking about how he fucking was listening to the podcast in the car back to where this stemmed from. And he's like, yeah, I totally went the wrong way. And I totally was like 20 minutes off of where I was supposed to go because I was so engulfed in the podcast. And the next, I was just like, oh, that's my podcast. He was like, oh,
Really?
Yeah, and then he was just like, the Liftoff experience, like, yeah, and he was just like, oh yeah, I was listening to it. I know everything
that's
about
so
like your
cool.
aunt now and this and that, and like he was like talking about all the things that he knew about me and power of leverage.
How did you find it?
He found it because of Ryan.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because Ryan shared it, and then after
makes
Ryan
sense.
shared it, then he watched it, and then or listened to it, and then it followed suit into that situation.
I think that relationship is interesting to me when someone finds a digital product from an in-person experience. That's sort of the opposite of what normally happens.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, someone finds something online where it's like maybe popular within their algorithm or something.
Yeah,
And they tell their friends in person or family, whatever it is.
yeah,
But this is the inverse of that.
it is,
So
which is interesting.
that's cool.
And that's where I feel like there's leverage with technology and video is great when scaling a business and talking about something or adding value. And then you have that kind of like celebrity fan relationship where you like feel like you know the person, but you don't know the person. How many people took responsibility of like
Parasocial relationship?
Parasocial, yep. And like Kobe Bryant passed away and so many people were so sad and all the things, but like they didn't know the guy, but he just made so many emotional impacts on people.
Yeah. That is weird when like I've had a couple of those experiences and it's always strange because I'm like, I'm not that like famous or anything, but like it is weird when some people like someone knows more about you than like you never told them because you've never told them anything about it.
Well, looking at you online, vice versa, from an outside perspective, from someone that doesn't know you, just met you at the networking event, and have only had interactions mainly just in person with you and looking at your content and your social and what you've done, I can see how people could look at you as like that godlike figure from that perspective of like, oh my God, this guy's like, like this celebrity or something because like it's polished, it's good content, the views, the comments, the community.
I don't just like casually talk to the camera, which I should probably do more of. You know, so that people can get like a more well-rounded perspective of who I am, and I think that is really like the new standard.
It is
that people should do. It's like putting their personalities out online.
Yes, that's what I do with stories. I met my wife on Instagram, and I met my old co-host of the other podcast, Real Estate First Tech, off of Instagram. And so when I post stuff on stories are what build your character and build that personal relationship, which then people feel more, I don't know, like obligated to tune in and be a part of your growth and want to see what you're up to and whatever. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think that the human experience is like chasing stories.
And
when you
experiences,
watch someone's whole story like play out in front of you, it's like a reality TV show, I guess.
Like a reality TV show or a movie, So who knows? Maybe this could be the catalyst to you doing more of that type of content, depending on
it's something
your feedback out there.
It's something I've thought about too, and it's something I will be implementing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, you're hearing it. I don't know if you're hearing it first here, but you're hearing it first here.
You mentioned one of the pieces of content I put out there, one of those videos where I was talking about practicing the snatch. Mm-hmm. That was like my way of experimenting to do that, where I was like actually talking to the camera.
Caught my attention.
It was that was it did take me way too long to like set it up and like know what I was going to talk about, but that's just something I have to like practice and iterate over time.
I love the moments of like when I get like an emotional feeling, like with emotion becomes motion. And so when I have like an emotional feeling, then that's when I usually put out content. Like I did a head top type deeper conversation with my audience on Mr. Liftoff Instagram, because my wife and I were going through some things. And it's funny that you asked the question as far as like how is like being married and working together, because like we're not in the day in day out, so we're still kind of like navigating that. But like, I just said, hey, what you see in the front end doesn't always equate to what's inside the mind and equate to what's happening behind the scenes. And just because something looks rainbows and sunshine and so great on the front end doesn't mean that's always the case. But I'm curious, and I'm sure y'all are curious too, some extra bonus behind the scenes gym footage of you swinging some kettlebells, bro.
You wanna go do some kettlebells?
Let's go. Yeah, I'm gonna use the restroom really quick. We got nothing but kettlebells. We got like little tiny kettlebells, but hey, follow this, man. Like, subscribe, notification bell, turn that shit on. New podcasts every week, and let's go get some bonus footage, huh?
Let's do it.
All right,
swings in.
Let's get some swings in. I want to see.